the invisible thread that ties us together. Have you ever felt a strange pull in your chest, like your soul was being gently tugged by something or someone you couldn't see? You pause, your heart beats differently for a moment, and in the quiet you feel watched. Not in a creepy way, but as if you're being held in someone's thoughts. As if their energy, soft, electric longing has reached across time and space to whisper your name. No one is around. You haven't seen or spoken to them in weeks, maybe years. You've moved on. Right. So why does their presence suddenly feel so close it's almost tangible? Welcome to the mystery. Carl Jung spent his life trying to name a mystery that modern science is only beginning to understand. A truth that's quietly shaping your reality, whether you believe in it or not. The myth of separation. We live in a world that teaches us we are separate beings. You are here. They are there. You are your body, your thoughts, your name, your schedule. They are theirs. But Jung's groundbreaking work in depth psychology, particularly his insights into the collective unconscious, suggested something very different. We are all deeply, invisibly connected. Not metaphorically, but literally. Through a shared psychic field, through archetypes, symbols, dreams, and energy. This connection becomes especially powerful when charged by strong emotions, grief, joy, longing, and especially love. When someone misses you with depth and sincerity, not out of obsession or nostalgia, but from a soul-level yearning, that energy doesn't vanish. It moves, it flows, it reaches you. You may not always realize it. You may even try to dismiss it, but it leaves traces. And in this video, we're going to uncover those traces. 12 real specific signs that someone is energetically, emotionally, spiritually missing you in a way that bends the laws of ordinary logic. Beyond coincidence. The sacred patterns of synchronicity. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity to describe those moments when the universe seems to break its poker face, when events line up with eerie precision, when reality feels scripted not by logic but by meaning. According to Jung, synchronicity happens when the inner world and the outer world align to express something beyond either realm alone. In other words, the universe starts to talk. But here's the twist: the universe speaks in symbols, not sentences. When someone misses you deeply, the energy of that longing enters this symbolic language. It reshapes coincidences, it reroutes conversations, it tweaks dreams, it even messes with your tech. It creates moments so emotionally precise, so symbolically perfect, you can't help but feel that someone is trying to reach you. And often they are. You're not imagining things, you're receiving. The soul has its own technology. Our rational minds want clean lines, measurable data, proof. But the soul doesn't work like that. It deals in whispers, nudges, déjà vu. It speaks through gut feelings and unexplainable chills. It listens to dreams and patterns and symbols. And when someone is missing you, not just with their mind, but with their heart, their soul, it activates a transmission that doesn't need Wi-Fi language or logic. It speaks through the very fabric of consciousness. You may feel it as a sudden emotional shift that isn't yours. A dream so vivid it lingers for weeks. A song that plays at the perfect moment. A memory that pops up so vividly it almost hurts. These aren't just psychological phenomena. They're part of a larger psychic system, a web of non-local consciousness, as some quantum theorists are now calling it. Carl Jung didn't just dabble in mysticism. He believed that the unconscious, especially the collective unconscious, is the bridge between your inner world and the world of another. When someone projects emotion your way, especially longing, it travels through this psychic bridge. And if you're sensitive enough or open enough, you can feel it. Love leaves. Traces. Let's be honest, if someone's missing you, you'd probably like to know, right? But you don't want to be fooled by random thoughts or fleeting emotions. You want signs that feel real, that ring like truth. That's why in this video, we're not just going to talk about vibes or gut feelings. We're going to explore 12 distinct verifiable signs rooted in psychology, spiritual insight, and real-world experience that reveal when someone is holding you in their heart so strongly the universe starts to echo it. We'll cover things like why you sometimes feel watched even when alone, what it means when dreams feel more real than life, how your emotions might not even belong to you, why songs, names, or people keep showing up coincidentally, and how your own intuition may start working overtime because of someone else's love, and more. Each sign will not only help you recognize the signal, but also understand the deeper why behind it, what Jung would call the archetypal meaning, and how you can respond. How to use these signs. Before we begin, here's a reminder. These signs are not instructions. They don't mean you should rush back into someone's arms, stalk their social media, or assume fate is telling you to rekindle an old flame. These signs are invitations to notice, to reflect, to feel. Maybe they're here to remind you of a bond that still lives in spirit, even if not in form. Maybe they're asking you to heal something, or maybe, just maybe, they're nudging you toward a reconnection that's been waiting in the wings of your destiny. Whatever the reason, these signs are not random. They're meaningful. They're synchronistic. They're sacred signals that someone out there is thinking of you not casually but deeply, soulfully, and they've activated something in the field of reality itself to let you know. Are you open to the signs? If you're still here, chances are you felt something already. Maybe not today, maybe not last night, but somewhere along your journey you felt that tug, that inner whisper, that strange and tender sense of being missed. Not because of who you are in the world, but because of who you are to someone. So as we begin this journey through the 12 signs, I invite you to do one thing: trust what resonates. Some signs may mirror your exact experience. Others may plant a seed of recognition. Pay attention to what stirs something in your gut, in your chest, in your memory. Because the truth is, love never disappears. It simply transforms. And sometimes, when it can't find a way to return in words or presence, it finds another way through dreams, chills, synchronicities, and soul-to-soul transmissions. Ready to begin, so let's step through this doorway together. Because someone somewhere might be sending you a message. And the universe is waiting for you to answer. The body as an antenna, feeling their presence in your skin. Have you ever been sitting quietly, maybe reading, working, or just zoning out, when suddenly a chill runs down your spine? There's no draft, no reason, just that strange, unmistakable feeling that someone is near, even though no one is around. What if I told you that feeling wasn't random? What if your body was picking up an emotional transmission from someone who's thinking of you so intensely, their longing is echoing across the energetic plane? This isn't just mystical talk. According to Carl Jung, and echoed now by many somatic psychologists and quantum theorists, the body is one of the most sensitive instruments for perceiving the invisible. Jung once said, "The body knows things the mind cannot explain." Long before you consciously understand something, your nervous system is already reacting to it. It's constantly scanning for meaning, for connection, for safety, or for resonance. When someone misses you deeply, especially with love, sorrow, or longing, their energy doesn't just stay trapped in their mind. It radiates outward, often unconsciously, through what mystics call the ether and quantum theorists might call the non-local field, a space where information and energy aren't limited by time or distance. And sometimes, you feel it. You might experience a chill or wave of warmth with no environmental cause, a tingling sensation on your arms or the back of your neck, a sudden feeling of being watched, a warmth or pressure in your chest that arrives out of nowhere. What's important is not what you feel, but how it feels like recognition. This is where things get beautifully eerie. You may not have seen this person in years. You may not be thinking of them consciously, but suddenly your body lights up with sensation. And it's not anxiety, it's not fear, it's not even nostalgia. It's something else, a quiet sense of presence. You pause, you turn your head almost expecting to see someone. You place your hand on your chest, wondering why your heart feels heavier or warmer. Your rational mind looks for explanations. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's just stress, but your intuition knows. Someone's energy has reached you. Let me tell you about Sophie, a woman I spoke with while researching energetic phenomena. She told me she was washing dishes one afternoon, completely relaxed, when she felt a weird heaviness in her back, like a hand pressing lightly between her shoulder blades. No pain, just a presence. Then came a strong urge to sit down and cry. She had no idea why. 30 minutes later, her phone buzzed a message from her ex-husband. It was the first time he'd texted in almost a year. It read, "I don't know why, but I've been missing you all day. I felt like I had to reach out." She sat there stunned. The timeline matched perfectly. What she felt in her body was not just emotion, it was transmission. While traditional neuroscience can't fully explain these experiences, it does offer clues. Our mirror neurons, which fire when we witness others' emotions, don't always require physical presence. Under strong emotional bonds, these neurons may stay tuned in even when we're apart. And the electromagnetic field of the human heart, which can be measured several feet outside the body, is now believed to influence others' energy, especially when there's emotional resonance. This means when someone thinks about you with intensity, their heart emits a field. That field, if focused strongly, can ping your nervous system. Your body reacts first before your mind ever knows what's happening. In essence, you're a living receiver, and someone's longing may be the broadcast. Many of us have been taught to ignore our bodily signals, to dismiss weird feelings as irrational. But what if you've simply been trained to silence your own antenna? Highly intuitive people often report physical sensations when someone is thinking about them or going through emotional experiences. These are not hallucinations. They're bioenergetic impressions, real reactions to invisible forces. If you've ever felt a wave of emotion without cause, experienced goosebumps when thinking of someone specific, suddenly felt a touch on your shoulder that wasn't there, then you've likely experienced this energetic communication firsthand. Have you ever been in a room full of people but suddenly felt someone before you saw them, or sensed someone thinking about you? Then they texted seconds later. That's not just coincidence, that's energetic signature recognition. Every person has a unique emotional and spiritual signal, like a fingerprint. When someone you have a deep connection with misses, your soul can often identify the sender even before your mind understands what's happening. That's why some sensations feel random and others feel personal. It's why you don't just feel something, you feel someone. So what do you do when your body tells you someone is reaching out without reaching out? Pause and breathe. Give space for the sensation to speak. Notice the emotion. Is it warm? Is it sad? Is it nostalgic? Ask yourself gently, who does this feel like? Write it down. Keeping a log can help you notice patterns. Send love back, even silently, even if you're not ready to reconnect. Just because you're picking up someone's energy doesn't mean you need to respond in the physical world, but acknowledging it internally helps regulate the emotional impact and opens a dialogue with your higher self. Have you ever felt a physical presence you couldn't explain? What did it feel like and who came to mind immediately? Write about it. Don't edit yourself. Just explore. Sometimes your body holds answers your mind isn't ready to admit yet. You are more sensitive than you've been told. You are more connected than you believe. And your body. It's not just a vessel. It's a translator constantly interpreting whispers from beyond the veil of logic. When someone misses you deeply, your skin might be the first to know. Your spine might tingle with their longing. Your heart might thud a little louder with their ache. You may never hear from them, or you might receive that message you weren't expecting, that arrives exactly when your body said it would. Next time you feel that chill, that warmth, that pause in time, don't brush it off. It could be the most human kind of magic, someone somewhere missing you in a way so deep your body became the echo of their soul. Dream world meetings, when souls connect at night. There are dreams, and then there are those dreams. You know the ones I'm talking about, the kind you wake from with tears in your eyes, heart pounding, and a feeling so real it lingers all day. You tell yourself it was just a dream, but something in you whispers otherwise. Because they were there, not as a memory, not as a figment, but as a presence alive, interactive, and aware. When someone misses you deeply on a soul level, one of the most powerful signs is this: you meet them in dreams. There are dreams, and then there are those dreams. You know the ones I'm talking about, the kind you wake from with tears in your eyes, heart pounding, and a feeling so real it lingers all day. You tell yourself it was just a dream, but something in you whispers otherwise. Because they were there, not as a memory, not as a figment, but as a presence alive, interactive, and aware. When someone misses you deeply on a soul level, one of the most powerful signs is this: you meet them in dreams. Carl Jung believed that dreams are not nonsense or random brain activity. Instead, he called them the royal road to the unconscious, a dimension of reality where your individual psyche connects with the collective unconscious, the shared field of consciousness that links all beings. In Jungian psychology, the dream world is not separate from the waking world. It's simply a different layer, one that often holds more truth than what we call reality. And in that layer, time bends, space dissolves, souls meet. When someone longs for you with enough emotional intensity, especially if they're spiritually aware, grieving, or yearning, their consciousness may reach out to yours through the dream state. These aren't ordinary dreams. They feel like something else: a visitation, a reunion, a message. Let's talk about Elijah, a man who reached out after reading an article about dream visitations. He shared a story that had haunted him for years. His grandmother, whom he adored, had passed away suddenly. The night before he received the news, he had a dream so vivid it blurred the line between sleep and wakefulness. He was in her kitchen. She looked young, vibrant, wearing a floral apron. They didn't speak, but she held his hands, looked into his eyes, and smiled in a way he'd never seen before, so full of peace, like she had something to tell him without words. He woke up crying. Hours later, he got the call she had passed away peacefully in her sleep that same night. Coincidence, maybe, or maybe it was what Jung called a dream synchronicity, a meaningful encounter beyond the veil. These special dreams often carry very distinct characteristics. Emotional clarity. The feelings in the dream are powerful, often more intense than real life. Lucidity. You may be aware you're dreaming, but you don't want to wake up. Bidirectional interaction. The other person behaves with autonomy. They act, react, respond. It's not just your projection. Symbolism. Universal images often appear: bridges, phones, letters, trains, open doors. Afterglow. The dream stays with you for days, weeks, sometimes years. It feels like you've actually been with them, not imagined them. And many times people report waking up with information they couldn't have known otherwise. Modern sleep studies confirm that our brains enter states during REM sleep that resemble deep meditation or psychedelic experience, states where the boundaries of ego dissolve. In this liminal space, something profound happens. The line between your mind and theirs gets thinner. This is why even in grief, people often report dreams where loved ones visit them, bringing messages, closure, or comfort. Jung believed this wasn't fantasy. It was a real interaction happening in a non-physical dimension of consciousness. And it doesn't require death to access. People who miss each other across physical distances can meet in dreams too. It's the soul's way of saying, I'm still here. I still feel you. When your dream is more than a dream, when it's a connection, you'll often see recurring symbols. These aren't random. They're part of the universal language. Jung studied archetypes. Here are a few to watch for. Bridges, a meeting point between two worlds or two people. Phones, communication attempted or blocked. Trains, buses, life journeys aligning or departing. Letters, a message is being delivered. Homes, longing for emotional safety with the person. Open doors, readiness for connection or reconnection. These images are your psyche's way of translating emotional energy into spiritual syntax. When someone's longing for you is strong, their soul may speak through this language, leaving you with messages encoded in symbols. Have you ever had a dream that felt more real than life? Did it carry a message or leave you with a feeling you couldn't shake? Take a moment to journal it. Don't worry if it sounds strange. Often meaning arrives later. One of the most stunning phenomena people report is having mutual dreams. You dream of someone, then they message you the next day saying, "You were in my dream last night." Or vice versa. This isn't fiction. It's known as shared dreaming, and Jung suggested that it was a real possibility when two psyches are archetypically bonded. He believed that intense emotional bonds, romantic, familial, or spiritual, created what he called constellations in the psychic field. These constellations act like gravitational pulls, aligning the internal experiences of both people across time and space. If two souls are missing each other, especially during periods of transition grief or spiritual growth, it's not uncommon for their dreams to overlap. And often one dream fills in what the other couldn't see. When you wake up from one of these soul-level dreams, try this. Write it immediately. The emotional texture fades fast. Capture it while it's alive. Feel the message. Don't overanalyze. What's the emotional imprint? Ask for confirmation. Say to yourself or the universe, if this was real, send me a sign. Then watch for synchronicities. Send energy back. In meditation or prayer, imagine sending peace, gratitude, or healing to the person. Sometimes the dream is the connection. Sometimes it's a nudge to reach out. Trust your gut. In many indigenous cultures, dreams are treated as real experiences, not hallucinations. A dream where someone appears isn't ignored, it's honored. It's discussed with elders. It's treated like a message from spirit. Maybe it's time we do the same. If someone's energy reaches you in dreams and you wake up with a deep emotional resonance, treat it as sacred. Light a candle. Write them a letter even if you don't send it. Say thank you. Because not all connections play out in the physical world. Some live in the dream space, soft, tender, untouchable, but no less real. When someone misses you from the deepest part of their soul, the universe sometimes answers in dreams. Not with fantasies or wishful thinking, but with vivid encounters so emotionally rich they leave fingerprints on your waking life. Carl Jung believed that the dream world is where the soul speaks most clearly. When someone shows up there not as memory, but as presence, it's worth listening. Maybe it's closure, maybe it's connection, maybe it's a whisper from the collective field saying, "You are still remembered, you are still loved." In the chapters to come, we'll explore how these connections spill into waking life through signs, objects, synchronicities, and even technology. But for now, sleep gently. Someone might be waiting for you tonight. Synchronicity storms. When the universe starts speaking in symbols. You think of someone out of the blue. An hour later, their name pops up in a song. Later that evening, you overhear a stranger say their hometown. And just before bed, your social media algorithm without any search history randomly surfaces a photo of a place you both once visited. We call it coincidence. Carl Jung called it synchronicity, and he believed it was the language of the universe. But when someone misses you with deep emotional intensity, the universe doesn't just whisper, It starts speaking loudly, throwing symbols and patterns into your path, creating a storm of synchronicities that demand your attention. Let's define it clearly. According to Jung, synchronicity is a meaningful coincidence, an event that feels connected to your inner world, but has no logical cause in the outer world. It's not random. It's not luck. It's a sign that something unseen is orchestrating a symbolic message. And when someone is holding you in their thoughts with strong longing or unresolved emotion, that emotional energy starts influencing the symbolic fabric of your reality. You begin noticing their name in strange places, songs tied to your memories playing randomly, encounters with people who mention them by chance, recurring numbers, dates, or phrases associated with them, unexpected reminders that seem too timely to ignore. The message, pay attention. Let me tell you about Hannah, a woman who broke up with her college boyfriend 6 years ago. They hadn't spoken since. Different lives, different cities, no contact. One day, while shopping in a vintage market, she spotted something odd in a small box of jewelry, a silver bracelet. Not just any bracelet, the exact one her ex had gifted her engraved with her nickname. It had been lost in a move years ago. There was no logical reason for it to be there. She froze, then cried. That night she got a friend request from him. Synchronicity isn't just coincidence, it's communication, a conversation between soul and symbol. Longing is energy. Emotion is energy, and energy creates motion. When someone directs that longing toward you consciously or unconsciously, it can trigger ripples in what Jung called the psychoid realm, the layer of reality where psyche and matter are not separate but intertwined. It's like their thoughts are pebbles dropped into the universal pond, and those ripples begin to touch your world. Jung believed that when internal states align with external patterns, it's not chance. It's the unconscious organizing reality to reflect inner meaning. So if someone's missing you intensely, their longing becomes an energetic signal. The universe echoes that signal through symbols. You begin to notice a strange harmony between your thoughts and your environment. The stronger the emotion, the louder the echo. The universe doesn't speak English, it speaks symbol. When someone is thinking about you, the signs you receive will often take symbolic form. Feathers on your path, a sign of spiritual connection or protection. Seeing their birthday repeatedly, a reminder of their soul print. Animals behaving unusually, symbolic messengers tied to emotion. Mirrored numbers 11, 11, 222, 777. Energetic alignment and awareness. Books, movies, or lyrics that speak your exact thoughts. Messages encoded in culture. It's like reality becomes a mirror. You think of them and reality nods. Let's be honest, your rational brain might fight this. Coincidence, it says. And sure, if something happens, once it could be. But Jung taught that meaningful synchronicity isn't defined by rarity, it's defined by impact. If something makes you pause, if it stirs something in your memory or heart, if it connects dots that your logic can't explain, then it's worth honoring, because your inner compass is always tuned to meaning, not just math. Have you ever experienced a series of coincidences tied to someone from your past? Did they feel random, or did they feel like signs? Take a moment to reflect. Let your intuition speak before logic kicks in. 1 synchronicity is curious. 2 is interesting. But when they start piling up day after day, moment after moment, you reach what Jung called a synchronistic constellation, a cluster of events so precise in their symbolism, they begin to form a pattern of undeniable meaning. It's like the universe is trying every method it can to get your attention. Think of it this way. 1 raindrop is weather. A storm is a message. So when the name shows up again, when the lyric makes you cry, when the phone almost dials itself, pause. Because this might not be your imagination. It might be someone's longing shaping your reality. 1 synchronicity is curious. 2 is interesting. But when they start piling up day after day, moment after moment, you reach what Jung called a synchronistic constellation, a cluster of events So precise in their symbolism, they begin to form a pattern of undeniable meaning. It's like the universe is trying every method it can to get your attention. Think of it this way. One raindrop is weather. A storm is a message. So when the name shows up again, when the lyric makes you cry, when the phone almost dials itself, pause. Because this might not be your imagination. It might be someone's longing shaping your reality. The most compelling synchronicities are the ones that feel tailored to you. You're cleaning, and a photo falls out of a book of them. You hear a joke only they would have told from a stranger. Their favorite perfume wafts through the air with no one around. You walk into a bookstore and a book they once recommended is on display. These moments feel like cinematic glitches, and maybe they are. Jung believed that emotion organizes energy. The more emotionally charged a thought, the more likely it is to influence what we see, feel, and encounter. So when someone is emotionally charged by missing you, the universe may bend to carry that energy into your experience. You don't have to act. Sometimes synchronicities are confirmations, not instructions. They may be telling you, you are remembered. This connection still lives. You're not making this up. Here's how to respond when synchronicity shows up. Notice it fully. Don't brush it off. Acknowledge it. Tune in. How does it make you feel? Is it peace, sadness, joy? Document it. Track synchronicities. They often form narratives. Ask internally, what's the next right step? It might be stillness or reaching out. And always remember, not every symbol is a sign to reconnect. Some are just soul postcards, reminders that a bond still pulses quietly, gently beneath the surface of things. You are not a passive recipient of signs. You are part of the dialogue. Synchronicities are soul echoes, ripples created when someone somewhere thinks of you not just with memory, but with meaning. And the universe, being what it is, alive, responsive, and symbolic, responds. So when the signs start stacking up, when the patterns form, when reality stops behaving like random noise and starts feeling like a love letter, listen, because maybe, just maybe, someone is calling out to you in the only language the universe has left. Telepathic empathy, feeling their emotions from afar. Have you ever felt a sudden wave of sadness wash over you out of nowhere? One moment you're fine, maybe even laughing. The next, a sense of heaviness settles on your chest. Your thoughts turn inward. You feel something or someone. But nothing in your life explains it. If that sounds familiar, you may have just experienced a telepathic emotional transmission, what Carl Jung would call a resonance in the collective unconscious. Because when someone misses you deeply, especially during intense emotional states, their feelings can cross the boundary of space and land directly inside your heart. We often think of thoughts and feelings as private, locked inside our skulls and skin, but that's not how the soul works. Carl Jung believed the human psyche is not a closed system. Instead, it's part of a shared field, what he called the collective unconscious, where thought, symbols, and emotions flow freely between connected individuals. Think of it like this. Your individual mind is a phone. The collective unconscious is the network. When someone who's emotionally linked to you feels something powerfully, you might receive the ping. Especially if they're thinking about you. This kind of communication isn't like reading minds. You don't hear their voice or see their face. You feel something, suddenly and inexplicably. It's a drop in mood that doesn't match your circumstances. A burst of joy or nostalgia that feels borrowed. A wave of longing that lands in your chest like it belongs to someone else. You try to trace it. You scan your environment, but nothing adds up. That's because it didn't originate in your current reality. It came from a shared emotional field between you and the person who's missing you. I spoke with a woman named Rena who shared a powerful story. She had recently ended a long-distance relationship, and weeks had passed without communication. One afternoon, while folding laundry, she suddenly felt crushed by an overwhelming grief, like someone had just whispered goodbye in her ear. No warning, no trigger, just sorrow. She sat down confused and wrote the feeling in her journal. It's not mine, but it's real. The next day, she received an email from her ex, sent at almost the exact moment she had that feeling. It said, I've been struggling with the end of this. Yesterday was the hardest. Her empathy hadn't been psychological, it had been telepathic. While modern science hasn't fully mapped telepathic experience, it does offer an entry point: mirror neurons. Discovered in the 1990s, these specialized brain cells fire not just when we perform an action, but when we observe someone else performing it. They're a foundation for empathy and perhaps something more. Some researchers believe that mirror neurons may also activate in the absence of physical presence, especially among people with strong emotional bonds. In other words, you don't need to see someone cry to feel their sorrow. When someone's energy is deeply entwined with yours, their emotional state can echo in your nervous system even from afar. It's not magic, it's resonance. Carl Jung believed the unconscious is always listening, and the autonomic nervous system, responsible for everything from heartbeat to emotional response, may be the body's earliest listener of all. When someone is directing emotional energy toward you, especially longing, it can trigger sudden anxiety, sadness, or nostalgia in your body, cause heart flutters, chills, or breath changes with no logical reason. Pull your focus toward memories, sensations, or images of that person. These aren't your feelings. They're through you, not from you. And once you start recognizing the pattern, it becomes impossible to ignore. When was the last time you felt something that didn't seem like it came from you? Did it feel like a message? Did someone eventually confirm it? Write it down, explore it. Sometimes your body's responses are more honest than your thoughts. Telepathic empathy isn't a one-way street. Just as you may receive emotional signals from someone missing you, you may also be the sender, whether you realize it or not. Ever had someone reach out saying, I don't know why, but I felt like you needed me. I had a strong feeling about you today. You popped into my head so strongly I had to check in. That's you projecting emotional energy intentionally or not. We are always broadcasting. The question is, who's tuned into your frequency? Feeling someone else's emotions can be overwhelming, especially when they arrive uninvited and without context. Here's how to navigate it. Pause and ask, is this mine? Sit with that question. If the feeling lifts when you detach from it, it may not be yours. Ground yourself. Place your hand on your chest. Breathe. Imagine roots grounding you into the earth. Send peace back. If the feeling is intense but compassionate, imagine sending that person comfort silently. Journal the experience. Include time emotions and any names or thoughts that arise. These logs often reveal patterns. You don't have to act. You don't need to call. Simply acknowledging the moment as energetic connection is enough. Jung taught that all human experience filters through archetypes, universal patterns embedded in the unconscious. Love, loss, rebirth, longing. When someone misses you, their longing activates the archetype of connection, which reaches across psychic space like a spiritual radio signal. You may not hear words, but you feel it in the way the wind moves through you, in the pressure behind your eyes, in the thought that lands in your head with someone else's name on it. The archetype brings not just emotion, but invitation to remember to reflect, and sometimes to heal. A word of caution: discernment is key. Not every mood swing is a telepathic message. Not every random sadness comes from someone else. So how do you know? Telepathic emotions often carry specific qualities. They arrive suddenly without external triggers. They carry the emotional texture of someone specific. They fade just as suddenly, especially after being acknowledged. They often precede or follow synchronicities, dreams, or actual contact. If multiple signs appear around the same time, you may be in a moment of active, energetic connection. And that's something to honor. We're more than our bodies, more than our minds. We are fields of consciousness constantly brushing against the energy of those we love or once loved. When someone misses you deeply, especially when their heart is open and aching, they may not even know it, but their emotions become a signal. And your body, if you're quiet and brave enough to listen, becomes the receiver. This isn't just empathy. This is soul telepathy. A communication older than language, quieter than thought, and more sacred than most of us dare to believe. So the next time you feel something that doesn't belong to you, pause. It might be someone somewhere holding your memory close, sending you an emotional echo, whispering across the great invisible web of connection. You're still in my heart, even if I can't say it out loud. When memories materialize, symbolic objects resurface. You're cleaning out an old drawer not expecting anything meaningful. Then tucked beneath receipts or forgotten papers you find a photo, a bracelet, a movie ticket, a piece of paper with a handwritten note. It hits you like a wave because the item is connected to someone you haven't thought about in weeks, or have been trying not to think about at all. And somehow it appeared exactly when you needed clarity, closure, or confirmation. Coincidence? Or something more? Carl Jung believed that physical reality is not separate from our psychic reality. In fact, he proposed that under emotionally charged circumstances, the psyche can influence matter, making it more likely for meaningful objects to show up in synchronistic ways. This is what he called symbolic materialization. Jung saw the world as layered. Beneath the surface of what we call real lies a deeper realm where thoughts, emotions, and memories aren't just mental events. They have form, they have weight, and occasionally, they make themselves visible. When someone is missing you deeply, especially when the connection is unresolved or still active in the emotional field, the universe may begin organizing objects in your physical world that carry the energetic imprint of that relationship. It's like your environment becomes a stage and memory becomes the director. Let's talk about Daniel. He had ended a long, complicated relationship and hadn't seen his ex-partner in over 2 years. One day, while reorganizing his apartment before moving, he opened a box he'd already checked several times. This time, there was a folded letter sitting right on top, a handwritten note she had given him on their anniversary, tucked inside the book they used to read together. He swore he had never seen it before. What made it stranger? He had dreamed about her the night before. They were laughing, holding hands, saying nothing, and everything. The letter simply said, "No matter where life takes us, thank you for loving me the way you did." It arrived when he most needed closure. Why do objects appear this way? Because physical items aren't just things, they're emotional containers. They absorb memory. A scarf isn't just a scarf. It's the one she wore when you first kissed. A song isn't just a song. It's the one that played when you said goodbye. When someone misses you deeply, their emotional energy can pull associated symbols into your awareness. You may find a shirt you thought you gave away, an old gift you forgot you had, a book they once recommended showing up in a thrift shop, a piece of jewelry or letter that seems to materialize out of thin air. And it almost always happens during emotionally charged moments, when you're thinking about them, when you're questioning the importance of the relationship, when you're ready to release or reconnect. Jung described this phenomenon using the concept of unus mundus Latin for one world. In unus mundus, mind and matter are not separate, but part of a unified field. This means that your emotional state and the physical world can become entangled, especially when influenced by strong archetypal energies, like love, longing, grief, or destiny. So when someone's emotional energy is directed at you, it can subtly influence the material world around you, drawing forward items charged with emotional significance. This is not magic, it's symbolic alignment. It's not that the object was created out of thin air. It's that it surfaced exactly when the message embedded in it was needed most. Have you ever found an object that stopped you in your tracks because it connected instantly to someone in your past? What was it? What did it say to you? Journal it. Describe not just the object, but the feeling it brought. Sometimes that's the message. It's easy to downplay these moments, to say it's just an old photo, but if it were meaningless, it wouldn't have stirred your chest like that. It wouldn't have shown up now. Remember, objects carry the frequency of the moments they were born in. Those frequencies can reawaken when someone is thinking about you. The object acts as a bridge between what was what is and what might still be. And often that bridge is walked both ways. You feel them. They feel you, the object. It's the midpoint, the messenger. If something resurfaces unexpectedly and it feels meaningful, don't rush past it. Try this. Hold it with attention. Let your body feel its emotional frequency. Ask what it wants to tell you. Every object is a symbol. Trust your first instinct. Your intuition speaks fast before logic catches up. Decide how to respond. Keep it, release it, or pass it on with intention. Some objects arrive as closure, others as confirmation, and sometimes as quiet reminders you are still remembered. You are still loved. Of course, not every forgotten item is a message from the cosmos. Sometimes a shirt is just a shirt. But when an object shows up unexpectedly, carries emotional weight, aligns with recent dreams, thoughts, or signs, appears during a time of emotional questioning or longing, it's not just coincidence. It's a symbolic materialization, a moment when the universe allows memory to become matter. We think of reality as solid, separate, safe from the chaos of emotion, but it's not. Reality bends not dramatically but subtly when the heart speaks loudly enough, especially when someone is missing you in a way that's pure unresolved or deeply sacred. Their thoughts don't just ripple through your dreams or body. Sometimes they reshape the physical world, guiding symbolic objects to your path. That photo, that letter, that random song, they're not random, they're invitations to reflect, to remember, and to respond. Because the soul doesn't forget. And sometimes the proof of that lives quietly in your drawer, waiting for the right moment to return. Mood intrusions, emotional waves that aren't yours. One moment you're calm, then out of nowhere, without warning, without cause, your mood changes. A sudden ache of longing, an unexplained sadness, a warm glow of nostalgia. You feel different. And you can't explain why. These emotional shifts arrive like weather, seemingly from nowhere, yet all-encompassing. You might dismiss them. You might blame hormones, sleep, even caffeine. But sometimes what you're feeling isn't yours. Carl Jung suggested that our inner emotional world is not sealed off like an island. Instead, it's connected to a vast psychic ocean, a field that carries echoes of other people's feelings, especially those emotionally tied to us. And when someone misses you, really misses you, those emotions may not stay contained in their own heart. They ripple outward, and sometimes they land in yours. We've been taught to believe that emotions originate inside of us. But what if some are imported? Psychologists now study a phenomenon called emotional contagion, the process by which people catch emotions from those around them, often unconsciously. You've experienced it when a friend walks into the room and you instantly feel their tension or joy. But here's the twist. Emotional contagion isn't limited to physical proximity, especially when there's a deep psychic connection someone's longing for. You may enter your emotional field even across distance and change your state. You suddenly feel sentimental out of nowhere. Think of a specific person with emotion, not logic. Tear up over a song that's never moved you before. Sense a weight, a presence, a shift, without a story to explain it. And all of it feels borrowed, like the emotion arrived with someone else's name on it. Lena had been estranged from her father for nearly a decade. No contact, no closure. On her 30th birthday, she felt fine in the morning, but around 4 p.m. she was hit with a sudden, overwhelming sadness. Not just reflective grief-level sorrow, She didn't know why. The feeling lasted an hour, then lifted as if it had passed through her. 3 days later, her aunt called. "He was asking about you on your birthday," she said. "He was crying, said he regretted everything." Lena froze. It had been exactly 4 p.m. when he had his breakdown. The emotion she felt wasn't hers, it was his, and her heart received it like a tuning fork. Jung believed that we each carry a personal unconscious, but are also immersed in a collective unconscious, a psychic web that connects all human minds through shared archetypes, emotions, and energy. When someone is emotionally linked to you and feels something powerful, especially guilt, regret, or longing, your emotional field may register that energy as your own. Think of it like emotional resonance. Their sorrow hits a matching frequency in you. Your mood changes even if you don't know why. It feels invasive but oddly familiar, like a memory you didn't make. This isn't imagination, it's psychic sensitivity. And the more emotionally aware or energetically open you are, the more likely you are to pick up on these transmissions. Have you ever felt an emotion that hit you hard but didn't match your life in that moment? Who came to mind, and what did you do about it? Pause, reflect, trace the moment. Sometimes borrowed emotion holds clues that words never gave you. How can you tell when a feeling might be theirs and not yours? Here are the signs. Abrupt onset. The emotion arrives suddenly without any clear trigger. Lack of context. You feel something powerful, but nothing in your life explains it. Specific association. A particular person's face or name enters your mind uninvited. Temporary duration. The feeling leaves as suddenly as it came, often within minutes or hours. Paired with other signs, a song plays, a dream follows. You feel watched. Other synchronicities appear. When these occur together, you're likely experiencing an emotional transmission, an energetic text message written not in words, but in feeling. Some people are more sensitive than others. If you frequently absorb others' moods, feel drained after social interaction, are easily moved by music, art, or stories, need solitude to recharge. You may be an emotional empath, someone whose nervous system is naturally attuned to emotional frequencies. Jung might say your unconscious is more porous, allowing impressions from the collective field to pass through more easily. This isn't a flaw, it's a gift, but it means that when someone's missing you, especially someone with whom you share deep history or unresolved emotion, you're more likely to feel their ache in your own skin. Feeling what's not yours can be confusing. Here's how to handle it with grace and self-awareness. Ask, is this mine? Sit with that question. If you feel a subtle no, listen. Breathe deeply. Center yourself. Imagine the emotion as a cloud passing through, not becoming you. Send back peace. In silence or meditation, send calmness, love, or forgiveness to the person who came to mind. Don't rush to reconnect. Receiving their emotion doesn't mean you have to message them. Sometimes the soul just wants to be heard. And always write it down. Emotional transmissions often leave clues. Journaling creates a map you can revisit later, especially when confirmation shows up days, weeks, or months down the road. It's important to distinguish between your emotional weather, temporary mood shifts, and your emotional truth, your deeper, enduring feelings. Mood intrusions are often weather they pass through, but they come carrying messages. A wave of their sorrow might ask you to revisit the way things ended. A spike of their joy might nudge you to remember the light that once lived between you. These emotions aren't just noise, they're data from the heart's archives surfacing when one soul reaches for another through feeling, not form. You are not disconnected. No matter how much time has passed, no matter the distance, no matter the silence, you remain connected to the people who once mattered to you. And they to you. When someone misses you truly deeply, they may send out a silent cry. Not to your phone, not to your inbox, but to your heart. And if you're open, you'll feel it. In a sigh you can't explain, in a tear you didn't plan, in a warmth that doesn't come from sunlight. Not because you're weak, but because you're receptive. You are wired to feel what others send with love. You are capable of receiving signals from the soul, and when the emotion arrives, recognize it for what it is: not a mood swing, but a sacred message. A wave carrying someone else's heartbeat to your shore. Technology acts. Strange, electromagnetic disturbances. Your phone rings, but no one's there. A message notification pops up only to disappear. A playlist shuffles to your song at the exact moment you were thinking about them. And then, your phone glitches, freezes, or opens something on its own. You check your settings, nothing's off. And yet you know something is. What if it isn't a tech problem? What if it's a signal? Carl Jung didn't live in a world of smartphones, tablets, or Wi-Fi, but he did understand one thing: intense human emotion can influence the physical world in strange, unexpected ways. He called it psychoid energy, that mysterious force where psyche and matter meet. And in today's world, it may show up through electromagnetic disturbances, especially when someone is thinking of you so intensely that their longing disturbs the very currents around you. Science tells us that everything is energy. Your thoughts, your emotions, your heartbeat, and energy, especially emotionally charged energy, affects electromagnetic fields. That's not just metaphysical poetry, it's physics. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body. When someone focuses their emotions on you, especially longing, grief, or love, that energy may ripple through the collective field, subtly interacting with electronic environments near you. If you're sensitive and emotionally connected, you may notice it as text messages not sending or getting stuck, old conversations reappearing at random, devices turning on or off without input, notifications glitching or repeating, apps related to them opening accidentally. These aren't always bugs. Sometimes they're breadcrumbs from the field of connection. Andre hadn't spoken to his ex-girlfriend in over a year, but one night around 11:30 p.m., he felt a powerful urge to text her. He opened his phone, typed, "Thinking of you. Hope you're doing okay." He hit send. Then his screen glitched. The app closed. The message didn't send. Frustrated, he went to sleep. The next morning, he woke up to a missed call. From her. She had called at 11:31 p.m., the same moment he had tried to message her. They hadn't spoken in 14 months. Sometimes the technology doesn't connect, because the energy already did. In ancient times, people saw flickering candles or sudden breezes as signs from the spirit world. In our world, it might be a phantom notification, or a playlist changing itself, or your screen suddenly dimming as you think of them. When someone misses you deeply, especially during moments of heightened emotion, birthdays, anniversaries, breakups, their emotional field can create minor disturbances in your immediate reality. And because so much of your reality flows through digital interfaces, it's no surprise the signs show up there. Your device becomes a mirror showing you the fingerprints of a presence you can't quite touch. Let's connect this back to emotion. Emotion, energy in motion. The more emotionally charged someone's thoughts about you are, the more likely they are to transmit into your field even through non-verbal, non-physical means. In fact, many people report tech anomalies right after dreaming about someone intensely, journaling about a past relationship, saying goodbye or wishing they could, experiencing déjà vu connected to a person. Carl Jung believed that when an archetype is activated, such as the archetype of reunion grief or love lost, it organizes surrounding events symbolically. And in our era, those events often include glitches in the machines that connect us. Has your technology ever acted strange during emotionally charged moments? Did a device behave in a way that felt timed, symbolic, or eerie? Think of the emotion, the moment, the outcome. Sometimes the message isn't just on screen, it's behind it. If you feel like technology is acting weird, ask, was I thinking of someone specific? Was I emotionally stirred when it happened? Did a certain memory surface just before or after? Then, pause before dismissing it as random. Breathe and observe. Check the symbolism. Was it a song, a photo, a message draft? Acknowledge it aloud. Okay, I see it. Spoken recognition can anchor the moment. Send intention. If it feels right, send a thought back. I'm receiving your energy. May you be at peace. You don't need to reach out physically. Just know that sometimes tech is the messenger, but the message is energetic. People who are spiritually aware often report greater sensitivity to electronic interference. You might notice lights flickering when you feel intense emotion, phone screens freezing when you're in deep grief or love, music apps playing songs that connect to the exact memory you were reliving. This is not random. Some researchers now explore the overlap between EMF sensitivity and empathic perception, suggesting that people with stronger energetic fields may both influence and detect subtle fluctuations in their environments. Jung would say your psyche is making contact with matter, and it's leaving signs. Look for their name popping up unexpectedly, even in old files or messages. Old conversations resurfacing via app glitches. Notifications that vanish instantly, as if someone reached out then changed their mind. Photos or memories auto-generating that align with anniversaries or dreams. Devices crashing during emotional moments, especially if related to them. When these line up with thoughts, feelings, or dreams, pay attention. It's likely part of a synchronistic field generated by their emotional energy. We live in a wired world, but not all connections require cables. When someone misses you truly soulfully, your bond may not remain in dreams or feelings alone. It may cross over into the flickering screen, the blinking light, the song that plays at just the right moment. You're not imagining it. You're not overthinking it. You're receiving it. Because longing doesn't just live in the heart, it reaches into space-like magnetism, and sometimes into your inbox. So next time your phone acts strange, maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's just trying to say what someone else couldn't. Social serendipity. People in their orbit cross yours. You're walking through the grocery store, minding your own business when you bump into their old coworker. Or you're scrolling Instagram and see a comment from their cousin under a post about something completely unrelated. Or maybe you strike up a conversation with a stranger at a cafe, only to discover they know the person you haven't been able to stop thinking about. These encounters feel random, but they land heavy. They linger. They stir up emotion. And they often arrive when you've just been thinking of that person, or trying not to. Carl Jung would call these moments a synchronistic constellation, where unrelated events arrange themselves in a meaningful pattern. And when it comes to someone missing you, these moments often manifest as indirect reconnections through people you both know. It's like the universe is threading your lives back together gently and socially. It's easy to believe we live in isolated bubbles, but the truth is, our relationships ripple outward. When someone is emotionally tied to you, especially if they're missing you deeply, the field of that emotional energy begins to influence others in their orbit. Sometimes that energy pulls mutual connections toward you. An old friend messages you out of nowhere. A former classmate reappears online. Someone brings up their name in passing conversation, as if plucked from the air. These aren't just coincidences, they're echoes. When someone is emotionally focused on you, the shared social field activates, and people connected to them may suddenly enter your space physically or digitally, delivering updates, reminders, or simply reactivating the bond by their presence. Mara hadn't seen her ex-boyfriend in over 5 years. No contact, no closure. She'd buried the connection under the busyness of life. Then one morning she missed her usual ride to work and took a different route. At the new bus stop, a woman sat beside her humming a familiar tune. It was his best friend from college. They hadn't spoken in over a decade. The conversation was casual at first, but as they talked, his name came up. His life. How he'd recently said he still thought about Mara and wondered what she was doing. That was all it took. Tears welled in her eyes, not from pain but from recognition. It was no longer about whether she should reach out. The universe already had. Jung believed that emotionally significant relationships create archetypal constellations patterns of energy that radiate through time memory and even other people. These constellations behave like gravitational fields. When activated by longing, they pull relevant symbols, people, and events into alignment. This includes mutual friends, shared acquaintances, or even distant connections who hold emotional relevance. In simpler terms, when someone thinks about you with depth, intensity, and emotion, their longing becomes magnetic, drawing people from their life into yours. Even if just for a moment, even if just to say their name. Pay close attention when someone casually mentions the person you've been dreaming about, brings up an old memory involving them out of nowhere, shares news or stories about them without knowing your connection. These aren't just harmless anecdotes. In Jungian terms, the unconscious uses proxies to communicate meaning, especially when direct contact isn't possible. When someone can't reach out to you physically, the universe often recruits others to carry the message. He's been asking about you. I saw her last week, she looked good. Funny, you remind me of someone I used to know. These moments often arrive just before or just after you felt that person's emotional energy. Synchronicity, not accident. When was the last time someone brought up a person from your past out of the blue? How did it make you feel? What did you do afterward? Don't ignore the timing. Social synchronicities often show up right when something is shifting in the energetic field. Here's something else to consider. Sometimes you are the one being used by the universe as the messenger. If you suddenly feel drawn to check in on someone connected to a person from your past, revisit a conversation from years ago, bring up a name you haven't said aloud in ages, you might be part of a spiritual relay carrying emotional information from one soul to another without even realizing it. In these moments, you're not just remembering, you're transmitting. That's the beauty of the collective unconscious. It works through all of us, not just the ones paying attention. When someone connected to them suddenly crosses your path, try this. Pause before labeling it a coincidence. Ask yourself, what were you thinking about just before the encounter? Feel the emotional tone. Was the moment warm, unsettling, familiar? Ask what the universe might be showing you. Is it time to heal, to reflect, to reach out? Say thank you silently, not to the person, but to the moment. Acknowledge the intelligence behind the timing. And most importantly, don't rush. Social synchronicities are subtle nudges, not demands. You're not required to act, but you're invited to listen. What makes these moments so uncanny is that they often occur at both ends of the energetic thread. When someone close to you suddenly appears, there's a good chance the person you're both connected to has been thinking of you recently. Or you've been appearing in their conversations. Or they're working through something emotionally significant related to your shared past. These indirect connections act like checkpoints in the journey between two souls. They're reminders that something still breathes in the space between you, even if it hasn't spoken in a long time. Sometimes the person you're missing doesn't show up in your dreams, in your inbox, or on your doorstep. They show up in someone else's story, in someone else's smile, in someone else's accidental mention. And it's not random. When emotional energy builds between two people, especially when it remains unspoken, the universe often sends a proxy. A mutual friend, a shared memory, a third-party messenger. These moments are sacred because they remind you you are still part of their orbit, and they are still quietly part of yours. So the next time their name crosses your path through another's lips, stop. Not to chase the past, but to recognize that the connection still moves, still breathes, still reaches for you, even through someone else. Magnetic aura. When your energy changes everything. Something about you feels different lately. People are smiling at you more. Strangers strike up conversations. Animals seem drawn to you. Plants in your home look livelier. You catch your own reflection and wonder what changed. The answer may not be in what you're doing, but in what you're receiving. Carl Jung believed that the psyche doesn't operate in isolation. When someone focuses on you with deep emotional intensity, especially love, longing, or reverence, it can begin to subtly affect your energetic field. And when this happens, the world notices, even if you don't. Your body emits energy. Modern science confirms what mystics have said for centuries: the human heart, brain, and nervous system generate electromagnetic fields measurable beyond the skin. Your aura, that subtle field of energy around you, is real, and it's responsive. It changes based on your thoughts, your emotional state, your spiritual awareness, and yes, the emotional energy directed at you by others. When someone misses you deeply, that longing can act like a spiritual wind, gently recalibrating your frequency even if you're not aware of it. The result: you begin to radiate something different, something magnetic, something alive. Tony, a quiet artist, lived alone and rarely socialized. For weeks he had been feeling strange, lightheaded, emotional, and more open than usual. One morning, a neighborhood cat who had never approached him before jumped into his lap while he was sketching outside. It stared into his eyes for a long time, then curled into his chest. The next day, Tony got a message from a woman he hadn't spoken to in years. She wrote, "I've been thinking about you so much lately. I couldn't sleep last night. I just wanted to say, I hope you're okay." She had been writing that message around the same time the cat showed up. Was the cat a messenger? Maybe. Was Tony's energy attracting it? Almost certainly. His field had shifted. When someone holds you in their heart, truly reverently, it does something powerful. It adds light to your field. Think of it like this. Love is frequency. Longing is a signal. Attention, when given with emotion, is an energy transference. Even if you're unaware of it, your aura is absorbing and reflecting this incoming charge, and the world around you picks up on it. Children become curious about you. Dogs come sit by your feet. People describe you as peaceful, different, or magnetic. You feel emotionally more open, spiritually more connected. You don't need to change your appearance. Your energy changes everything. Nature is incredibly sensitive to energy. Plants and animals, unburdened by logic, respond directly to frequencies. When someone's emotional energy reaches you and raises your vibration, you may notice plants blooming unexpectedly, even out of season, pets becoming more affectionate, even clingy, birds or butterflies appearing more often as if pulled by your aura. These aren't mystical hallucinations. They're responses, unfiltered reflections of your energetic state. Jung might explain this through the lens of the collective unconscious, a field where archetypal energies, including connection, influence the living world in symbolic, sensory ways. And love is one of the most archetypal energies there is. Has your energy ever felt different without explanation? Did people respond to you in new ways, kinder, warmer, more curious? What had recently changed in your life? Trace the timeline. Often your energetic expansion lines up perfectly with someone else's emotional focus on you. When your energy changes because someone is holding you in longing or love, you become a living mirror reflecting the beauty of that unseen bond into the outer world. People sense it. Without knowing why, they feel safe around you, want to open up to you, are comforted just by being near you. That's not random. That's resonance. You're emitting a frequency imbued with received affection, even if the person hasn't spoken to you in years. Even if the connection is purely energetic, it lingers, it transforms, it broadcasts. Sometimes this increased energy can feel like emotional overwhelm, restlessness, increased sensitivity, feeling like something is about to happen. If this is happening, try grounding. Walk barefoot, sit in nature, breathe slowly. Creative expression, paint, sing, dance, write. Move the energy through you. Silent gratitude. Even if you don't know who's sending love, acknowledge it with thanks. Meditative presence. Simply sit with the sensation and say, I receive. You're not imagining things. You're simply responding to a very real, very subtle transmission of heart energy. People may start treating you differently. This isn't about ego or appearance, it's about energetic coherence. You're carrying a charge of received emotion, and that makes you, calm, more radiant, less reactive, spiritually magnetic. In this state, opportunities may arise more easily. People are drawn to help you. Conversations flow. Synchronicities increase. It's not just that someone misses you. It's that their love for you, active, alive, and emotionally honest, is becoming a resource you're now carrying without knowing it. You're not just missed. You're being fed energetically by the memory, the emotion, the connection. We often think of longing as a silent ache. But when someone misses you with love, appreciation, or soul-level memory, it doesn't just stay inside them. It travels, it resonates, and it changes you. Not dramatically, not in fireworks, but softly through light in your eyes, softness in your words, and a field around you that makes the world lean in. That's what Jung knew. We are not isolated beings. We are energetic systems within systems exchanging invisible frequencies all the time. So when your energy changes, when the world smiles at you for no reason, when animals follow you and flowers bloom too early, don't ignore it. You're glowing because someone somewhere still holds you in the light of their heart. Spiritual boost, intuition, prophecy, and awakening. Suddenly, your instincts are sharper. You know who's about to call before the phone rings. You finish people's sentences. Your dreams are more vivid. You feel things before they happen. You walk into a room and sense the energy instantly. You're not losing your mind. You're becoming more awake. And it's not a coincidence. When someone is longing for you with emotional purity, especially love, grief, or soul-level memory, their focused energy doesn't just touch your emotions. It can amplify your spiritual faculties. Carl Jung often spoke of the psyche as a seed with potential, a psyche that blooms when met with archetypal love or recognition. And when someone holds you in that emotional field from afar, it can act like spiritual sunlight. Your intuitive gifts, lying dormant, begin to awaken. There's something sacred about being thought of with reverence. Not obsession, not fantasy, but a deep, grounded remembrance of your essence. When someone misses you authentically, their soul isn't just recalling the surface you. It's holding space for the truest, most eternal version of who you are. And that kind of attention has power. It does something to you quietly, spiritually. It opens doors in the unconscious. It sharpens perception. It wakes up your psychic radar. You begin to feel things you used to ignore. You know things you can't explain. You experience a spiritual quickening as if your soul is tuning into a higher frequency. Because it is. Jung believed that we are all on a journey toward individuation, becoming whole, by integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of ourselves. But individuation isn't a solo process, it's relational. When someone holds you in their longing not to possess you but to honor your soul, it activates something Jung called the self, the core divine aspect of your being. And in that state, your intuition spikes, creativity flows, inner wisdom surfaces, dreams become prophecies. Synchronicities multiply. It's not magic, it's resonance. You're being seen at a soul level, and your psyche is responding by waking up. Sasha had always been intuitive, but never called herself psychic. Then one night she dreamed that her college friend Jonah was in a car accident. In the dream, she saw flashing lights, heard sirens, and felt a crushing weight on her chest. She woke up shaking and texted him immediately. No answer. Hours later, she got a call from Jonah. He had just been discharged from the hospital. Minor injuries, but yes, he had been in an accident. Yes, there were sirens. Yes, it happened around 2 a.m., the same time she'd had the dream. He told her, I don't know why, but right before it happened, I was thinking about you. That's not a fluke. That's intuitive entanglement, a direct result of emotional energy opening psychic pathways. When someone misses you in a sacred way, you may notice sharper gut instincts. You just know something without logic. Prophetic dreams, symbolic or literal messages come through sleep. Increased synchronicity. Patterns, numbers, and signs appear frequently. Sensitivity to energy. You feel the moods and intentions of others instantly. Accelerated spiritual growth. You feel more aligned with purpose, truth, and peace. This isn't random. It's a spiritual upgrade fueled by emotional connection. You're not just receiving someone's longing, you're being spiritually supported by it. Has your intuition ever increased during periods of emotional connection with someone, even without direct contact? Did dreams or signs guide you? What did you trust and what did you ignore? Write about it. You may be more gifted than you've allowed yourself to believe. We often think of love as a feeling, but Jung saw it as a transformational force capable of healing, awakening, and evolving both the giver and the receiver. When someone holds you in their soul, their energy becomes a kind of psychic nutrient. It boosts your access to archetypal wisdom. It gently dismantles the ego's walls. It reawakens intuition that's been buried beneath fear or distraction. You might suddenly crave solitude, or nature, or deeper spiritual study. You're not becoming distant. You're becoming aligned. The soul always moves closer to its source when it's being remembered. Pay close attention to your dreams during these periods of energetic connection. They may reveal insights about the person thinking of you. Carry symbols tied to your shared past. Offer future glimpses, e.g., paths crossing again. Act as spiritual guidance for the next stage of your life. Jung taught that the collective unconscious delivers important messages through dream symbols, especially during moments of emotional intensity. When someone is longing for you, your dream world becomes a portal for both insight and spiritual visitation. If you sense your spiritual senses waking up, don't panic. Instead, slow down, the soul whispers. Make space for it to speak. Journal daily. Track dreams, signs, intuitive hits. Patterns will form. Meditate or walk in silence. This anchors intuition into your body. Ask questions. Before sleep, ask, what do I need to see? Then trust the images that follow. Stay grounded. Awakening is beautiful, but staying rooted is essential. Drink water, breathe, sleep. You're not going crazy. You're becoming conscious. When someone longs for you not from ego, but from the soul, it reaches you in ways no text or phone call ever could. It touches your energy, it stirs your emotions, and sometimes it wakes up your spirit. Carl Jung believed that love is the bridge between the unconscious and the divine. And when that bridge is activated even silently, it doesn't just carry emotion, it carries power. The power to awaken your inner sight, to illuminate your path, to prepare your soul for whatever comes next. So if you've been seeing more signs, feeling more things, knowing more than you can explain, don't doubt yourself. Someone's love is still reaching you, and your soul is rising to meet it. Soul rhythms. Time aligns. Between you two. You're celebrating a milestone, and without knowing why they cross your mind. You're grieving something silently, and they reach out seemingly out of nowhere. You suddenly feel uplifted only to later learn they were thinking of you during a spiritual high point in their life. These aren't just coincidences. They are what Carl Jung would call temporal synchronicities, events that align not because of cause and effect, but because of meaning and emotional connection. When someone misses you with soul-level longing, it's not just your space that responds. Time does too. Temporal resonance is when two people, especially those emotionally or spiritually bonded, experience parallel emotional events at the same time, even if they're apart. It's as if your lives are running on interwoven internal clocks. Jung suggested that archetypal relationships are governed by deep rhythms, unconscious timings that sync the spiritual and emotional evolution of connected individuals. This means you grow through similar lessons at similar times. You reach pivotal emotional thresholds simultaneously. You feel echoes of each other's transitions without ever speaking. It's not about planned timing, it's about soul timing. Nina had just lit a candle on the night of her father's death anniversary. She hadn't spoken to her childhood best friend Eliza in over 4 years. As she sat in silence, her phone buzzed. A message from Eliza. "I don't know why, but I've been thinking of your dad all day today. I'm lighting a candle for him tonight." They were on different continents. No social posts, no reminders. Just two hearts synced to a moment that meant something to both of them. That's temporal resonance. Jung believed that people linked by deep emotional or spiritual archetypes, such as the healer, lover, orphan, or soulmate, often undergo coordinated life experiences, even when separated by distance or time. These archetypes carry a kind of universal narrative clock. When one soul enters a chapter of healing, awakening, loss, joy, the other often enters something strikingly similar. Why? Because your souls are co-authoring a shared story, even if your characters aren't in the same scene anymore. You may experience soul rhythms as both of you losing something significant in the same week, having similar dreams on the same night, thinking of each other without contact, only to realize something important was unfolding at the same time. Going through inner transformation during mirrored life transitions. One of the most common signs, you feel them at key turning points in your own life, even if you haven't heard from them in years. And later, when you compare timelines, if ever the overlap is uncanny. Can you recall a time you were going through something intense, only to later find out someone from your past was experiencing something similar at the exact same time? These are not accidents. They're evidence of soul synchronization. We often imagine spiritual growth as a solo climb. But in reality, we grow in loops, energetic spirals where the progress of one soul gently triggers transformation in another. When someone who misses you deeply begins healing, forgiving, or reflecting, it can stir similar processes in you, activate memories or dreams, invite closure or reconnection. This loop isn't always visible. It's subtle, silent, sacred, but the effect is profound. Emotional resolution, inner peace, a sense of right place, right time re-emerging in your life. You don't always grow together physically, but spiritually, your paths remain intertwined. Temporal synchronicities often happen in clusters, especially during birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, lunar cycles, moments of personal crisis or joy. You might wake up at the exact same time every night thinking of them, feel emotionally disrupted or uplifted during their milestone moments, revisit old journals, photos, or memories with intense clarity. These are all signs that your soul clock is ringing in harmony with theirs, even if no words are exchanged. If you've been experiencing mirrored timing, try this. Pause. Don't rush to act. Let the awareness settle. Feel. Ask what emotion is moving through you. Grief, joy, love, curiosity. Write. Document the moment, including time, date, memory, and emotional tone. Send a silent acknowledgement. No contact is required. Just whisper, "I feel it too." The universe will carry the rest. Sometimes temporal synchronicity is a precursor to reconnection. You feel the pull, the signs amplify, your inner world lights up with memories, and then They appear in your inbox, on a sidewalk, in your dreams. Jung would say the psychic pressure of the shared timeline finally reached a breaking point, causing the unconscious to find a way back to awareness. If that moment hasn't arrived yet, trust this. Your rhythms are not out of sync. You're simply waiting for the next measure in a longer song. Time is not just hours and days. It's emotion symbol and memory woven together across distances we don't always understand. When someone misses you, their longing doesn't just stretch across space. It bends the rhythm of time itself, causing your lives to momentarily move in unison even when apart. Carl Jung knew this truth well. Meaningful events don't align because of logic. They align because of the soul's deeper clock. So if your emotions rise for no reason, if the past feels closer, if they enter your heart on days that just so happen to matter to both of you, trust the alignment. Their life and yours are still moving together, not every step, but every beat. And sometimes that's all it takes to know, I'm still part of their story, and they're still part of mine. Sacred presence, feeling them in your spiritual core. You're meditating, praying, sitting quietly in nature. There's no one around. The world is still, and yet you feel them. Not as a memory, not as a thought, but as presence. The sensation is so pure, so vivid, that for a brief moment, it's as if your souls are sitting side by side. No distance, no time, no words, just union. You don't always cry. You don't always smile. But you always feel one thing clearly. You are not alone. This is not imagination, not fantasy, not wishful thinking. Carl Jung believed that when consciousness rises beyond ego, it enters a sacred state where all souls are unified in the collective self. And in that state, those who long for each other, who recognize each other spiritually, can reconnect in silence, stillness, and sacred space. In spiritual psychology, there's a truth many traditions share. What is remembered with love never fully leaves. It lives, not in the body, not in the mind, but in the field of spirit, the shared energetic space where souls can touch without contact, speak without sound, and love without condition. When someone misses you deeply, their longing, especially when paired with reverence, love, or gratitude, becomes a spiritual offering. And if you're open, attuned, or simply still, you may receive it as a soft warmth in your heart, a peaceful expansion in your chest, a wave of emotion without a story, a gentle thought that lands with presence, not just memory. This is sacred communion, not fantasy, but felt reality in the soul's language. Jung referred to the pleroma, a word borrowed from Gnostic tradition, as the realm of unity, where all dualities dissolve. In the pleroma, time is irrelevant. Separation is illusion. Consciousness is whole. When you feel someone in meditation, prayer, or sacred stillness, you are temporarily merging with them in this realm. It may only last a few seconds, but the impact is unmistakable. You leave those moments with a sense of deep peace, renewed strength, a quiet knowing they are with me still. This is not a psychological trick. It's spiritual presence born of love, kept alive through energy, and expressed through consciousness itself. Marcus had been doing breathwork and healing trauma from an old relationship. He hadn't thought of Lily in months, not actively. But during a deep meditation, he felt a shift. As his breathing slowed, he became aware of someone sitting to his right. Not physically, but energetically. It wasn't spooky, it was sacred. He didn't see a face. He didn't hear words, but he knew it was her. He could feel her essence, gentle, strong, forgiving. The moment passed, but the peace remained. The next morning, he checked his email for the first time in weeks. A message from Lily. It had been sent the night before. The subject line, I just wanted to send peace. Spiritual presence doesn't require belief in the supernatural. It requires honesty with your experience. If you've ever felt someone with you during deep prayer or meditation, cried suddenly during stillness without knowing why, sensed company during sacred moments, been overcome with warmth, love, or guidance with no clear source, you've touched this. Don't rush to rationalize it. Don't diminish it with maybe I'm just emotional. Feel it. That's someone reaching you through the sacred channel of longing and love. Have you ever experienced a moment of stillness where someone's energy felt present with you? Who was it? What did it feel like? What changed afterward? This isn't about logic. It's about listening, deeply. When someone misses you at the soul level, it isn't rooted in need or nostalgia. It's recognition. It says, I see your light. You are part of my journey. Even without words, I remember who you are. And when that recognition is held in love, it vibrates. Through dreams, through synchronicities, through symbols, and finally in sacred presence. You may never speak again in this life, but your souls still kneel at the same altar. And in that shared silence, you are more connected than most people who talk every day. You don't need rituals, just willingness. Try this. Sit in stillness. Quiet space, no distractions. Breathe slowly. Let the breath ground you. Open your heart. Don't search for them. Just invite whatever arises. Listen with your body. Is there warmth, pressure, emotion? Acknowledge. Silently or aloud, say, I feel you. Thank you. Even one sincere moment of connection can bring more healing than 100 conversations. You don't walk away from sacred presence unchanged. You forgive more easily, speak more gently, feel more rooted, hold others with compassion, because even if the world denies the connection, even if distance wins in the physical world, your soul knows the truth. Love, when offered sincerely, can never go unfelt. This chapter isn't about proof, it's about presence. And sometimes the most powerful evidence of love isn't in a message or a memory, but in a quiet moment when someone's soul sits beside yours. When you feel it, you'll know. It will feel like stillness that speaks, like breath that carries a name, like silence that holds you. Carl Jung spent his life exploring the mysteries of the unconscious, and at its deepest levels, he found that we are never truly separate. We are fields within fields, souls within souls. Longing becomes connection. Love becomes presence. So if you've felt someone with you during prayer, meditation, grief, joy, trust it. They may be missing you more than they can say, and in their missing, they've found the one place they could still meet you. Inside the sanctuary of your soul, love that transcends, integrating the signs and trusting the connection. So here we are. We've traveled together through 12 signs. 12 subtle yet powerful ways the universe communicates that someone somewhere is holding you in their heart. Not passively, not casually, but actively, energetically, spiritually. And now, what do we do with that? Because it's one thing to notice a sign. It's another to trust it. It's one thing to say, that's strange. It's another to whisper, I receive. So this final chapter is about integration, about understanding what these signs really mean, and more importantly, what they ask of you. Let's briefly revisit the journey, not to repeat it, but to reveal its deeper thread. Physical sensations. Your body knows. It's the antenna of the soul. Dream visitations. The meeting point when words no longer reach. Synchronicities. The universe winks when hearts align. Emotional telepathy, feeling what's not yours because love makes you porous. Symbolic objects, memory made tangible, a physical echo of their thoughts. Mood intrusions, the ache that arrives without cause and departs without closure. Tech glitches, digital signs in an analog soul story. Social magnetism, their people finding their way to you. Energetic shifts, the aura you didn't know you were glowing in. Spiritual awakening, intuition that opens because you're being silently loved. Time alignment, the way your emotional clocks keep ticking together. Sacred presence, the quiet knowing. You're still with me, even here, even now. Each of these signs is more than evidence. They're invitations to remember, reflect, and sometimes to reconnect. Here's what Jung taught that's easy to forget. The deepest connections in our lives are not meant to be understood through reason. They are to be lived honored and, when possible, healed. When someone misses you, it doesn't always mean you need to go back. It doesn't always mean they're meant to return. But it does mean something sacred has been activated in the field between you. Sometimes that's a lesson, a closure, a spiritual handshake, a message for your growth, or yes, in rare cases, a second beginning. Only your intuition sharpened by the signs will know which. These signs don't ask you to chase anyone. They don't ask you to beg for answers. They ask you to stay conscious. Don't fall asleep at the wheel of your life. Stay soft. Let love move you even if it's unspoken. Stay discerning. Not all emotion is invitation. Some is simply information. Stay grateful. If someone carries you this deeply, let that be a blessing even in silence. Because being missed this profoundly means you mattered. Your energy transformed someone. Your soul left fingerprints on their story. And that is holy. If you've recognized yourself on the other side of this experience, if you're the one doing the missing, know this. That longing is not weakness. It's love that didn't know where else to go. You don't need to send it. You don't need to confess it. You only need to feel it honestly and let it shape you kindly. Sometimes your love is the light someone else is glowing in. Sometimes your longing is the dream they wake from. So tend to your emotions as sacred messengers, not of regret, but of connection, and trust that energy never wastes itself. Maybe they'll never reach out. Maybe you'll never speak again. Maybe this is the end not of love, but of its physical form. Still, the soul remembers. Still, the body knows. Still, the field responds. That's the deepest teaching Jung left us with. The unconscious mind is never really done with a person who touched us deeply. It simply reshapes the bond in new ways, less visible, more eternal. Let's be honest. Sometimes the signs don't stop. They come one after another. They wake you in the middle of the night. They show up on billboards, in dreams, in music, in memory. They whisper, "Open the door again." And if that's what you're feeling, then yes, maybe it's time to write the message, to say the thing, to open the heart. Because the universe doesn't coordinate synchronicity for no reason. Sometimes the signs are a quiet orchestration of the sacred timing you've both been waiting for. Find a quiet moment. Sit with yourself. Eyes closed. Breathe deeply. Then ask, who has carried me in silence? Who have I carried even when I said I wouldn't? What does love look like now without needing a reply? What do I want to do with this connection now that I understand it lives beyond space and time? And listen, that's where your answer lives, not in logic, but in your soul's resonance. If you've seen yourself in this story, if you've cried, remembered, softened, or awakened, know this. You are not crazy. You are not alone. You are not imagining things. You are being reached. You are being remembered. You are being loved in ways the rational mind will never fully understand, but your spirit has always known how to receive. Because love, real love, doesn't die. It doesn't even disappear. It just changes shape, becomes wind, becomes song, becomes signs, becomes presence, becomes you walking through the world glowing with a light you didn't even know someone else gave you. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for opening your heart. And if you've made it this far, leave a comment below with the words, "I recognize the signs." That way, I'll know you're awake. You're aware. You're ready to receive the love that's been trying to reach you all along. And if the signs keep showing up, maybe it's time to answer them.